Hey there, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty much fine. I hope you're doing well during this week. It has been a very intense one, and if you're new on the channel, my name is Alice, aka Imperial Ghost. I'm a occult writer and a witch on a hire from the southern of Finland. And on this channel, we blend together the MC culture with the occult culture. And so today, we decided to talk about the West, both from MC culture, motorcycle culture perspective, and also from the occult perspective. So we're gonna see the parallelism between ceremonial robes or ceremonial clothing and wearing a vest into a club or in the process to get one. And so the first thing that it came to my mind when people looks at biker cuts is they just see them a lot of time as outsiders. So let's suppose somebody that doesn't have that heck of a knowledge about the culture as some cool complementing item of a specific outfit. And it's more than that. It's more than a vest. It's more than a jacket. Like I will say, for example, in my case, my own vest and my own gloves, they are more than this. They are skin, they are identity, they are blood, they are initiation and power, they are an armor, they are a mark of brotherhood, they are sometimes passed down through generation. It can be, and it's also a connection, an extremely strong connection between those that have done the history of the culture and the history of a specific club and those that today get to ride into clubs and wearing the patches of this on the vest. My vest, it's intentionally kept neutral, so you don't find right now any patches. That's projects coming may last. And I wanted to try again to see, seemingly by the analytics, you people love it when tarot cards were pulled and spirits have the talk. So for today's video, I actually did the same as a professional tarot reader will do, leaving spirit also to talk. And I pulled some card that I'm gonna put the pictures in the commentary sections, and I want your take on what spirits are saying and also on this video down there. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the West, both in the MC culture and into the occult culture, as identity. And it was so interesting because the first card that Spirit actually pulled out was the Lover upside down. I know that probably you cannot see the picture very well. This deck, it's always extremely difficult to film, but we're gonna work on that. And so we said that the vest, it's more than just a piece of leather. Why so? Because from an identity perspective, a vest and a robe, they symbolize to our psychic identity, belonging, not to just only to a culture, but a way of thinking, a philosophy, a way of values, a way to roll, a way to look to everything, be it to the world in general, be it to a relationship, to friendship, to a working place, to everything that we can take, and is a transformation. Why it is a transformation? I don't know you, whenever you put a jacket or something that it's extremely important for you. It's like it's just more than a piece of cloth. It's like a new mindset that you are putting on. And this is the same. I see both the vest and the robes as a transition and a transformation from the ordinary to the extraordinary, which pretty much, for what has been my occult study, it seems that actually the language of magic itself, it's talk as much about the supernatural as of the mundane event. So it's bringing in these transitions from the normal world to the extraordinary world and extraordinary things, while still walking into our own dimension, which I think it's one of the most empowering aspect and experience that we could actually have. And the West as an identity underline has the importance of clarity. The important how of West represent clarity that guides us through choices and heals every kind of disconnections that the chaos of the outside world could have brought inside us, and could still having some kind of undesirable influencing on our own mind. And that's why I see also as the West being a sort of revealing our laws towards ourselves, towards our own surroundings and the world through our own actions. It grounds us. It gives us a sense of belonging into something that it's bigger than us. It's bigger than just be a group of people, than just be people practicing under the same culture or riding under the same cultures. It's just pure love, and it would never really it never really came to be from a concept of violence. We are talking about the history of the MC culture, and it started with the American Motorcycle Association, aka AMA, which had nothing to do with the 1% culture, which will come many, many, many years later. And we have talked about the veterans. We are not going there. So, from an identity, a West transcends also into initiation and power. Why it is so? As we talk in many different videos, I'm mainly into the hang around for spirit, and prospects for spirit. And I do think we also mention it into the what's a 1%, what's a 1% and what's a 1% which video. And I do think also in the origins, but memory today doesn't serve me good. West, a cut, is something that it is earned through trials and loyalty. So it's more than something that we just could purchase by an artisan, by a shop. It is a whole mental place, elevation, spiritual level that it is rather earned than given, and just for the sake to give it. And if that is the case, I would actually think that I would actually refuse completely getting a vest without having earned it. And actually this was gifted to me. It wasn't even self-bought. And it is also an initiation, as those two are phases for God into becoming a member of a club. So it represents also an initiation into a deeper level of understanding of a culture, understanding of a surrounding, understanding of the psychology that it's behind places, behind people, behind the way to think, the way to act, the way to roll. And loyalty is something that it's extremely important, because when we have the clarity that we said before and we switch our mind through, we are entering into deeper level of learning experiences and understanding. We are going to be able to direct our own energies and resources to find a balance, and also be able to restore our inner peace, embracing patience, embracing harmony. Why is this? Because the vest itself and the robe itself into the occult, they are also a sort of armor. Now, this is not a very thick leather vest. I've seen leather vests be more thicker than this. And they can actually, to a certain extent, protect you physically. But if we look at it on the value of an inner value of understanding, it is also a psychological shield against the outside world chaos. It is actually, we can say it, a statement of, I'm not afraid of confrontation when it is needed. And it's the same for the magician. Having a robe on which we put occult symbols, that can be symbols of powers, name of powers, can be symbol of protections, it can be the sigil or an identification symbol of an entity on it, whatever that brings us out there saying, I am a magician, I am a writer. So it is much more than just, like we said, a piece of leather. And that's why also when we fold them or we place it down or we take it off, it should never be like throw as a potato sack. Imagine that there is a potato sack flying over there. It's something that we really want to see as an extension of ourselves. And I do remember that in the live that we have done, somebody was actually bringing up, be asked many times, can I borrow your jacket? Can I borrow your vest? And pretty much that it's a question that at this point, you probably understand why it's not something you want to do. Because it is like privating a person of its own bone, of its own foundation, and some of us might actually feel metaphorically naked without it, for how used we are to having it, and at the same time vested with patches. Even the clubs in placing the patches, they have parameters about how higher respect to another they are supposed to be, how outside and inside they are supposed to be sewed. And yes, the patches mainly should be, for how I was told, embodied by hands, so with a needle and thread going through it. So it is actually really, I will say, the building up of a new personality, of a new identity, something that we could say Frankenstein has done with the monsters, showing different parts that will create a whole persona. So it's also a psychological process that requires patience and requires also putting an intention, because there is a reason why we are embroidering those patches on our vests, because we earned that. So we are actually, like we could say, painting on it in an artistically way with a needle as a brush, experiences, stories that we're gonna pass eventually down to those that comes after us. In the terms of generation, it's a testimony also to generations. It's a memory, it's a full book of events. And most important, the initiation and power and dharma, we had two cards that were the temperance upside down and the knight of sword upright. So here it's interesting how we are talking about motorcycles, and we have actually one of the knights. It's coming in here, and also it's an extremely dedicated the act. I see always has a statement, and so it's an identity also for the club itself, because it marks a brotherhood. It marks a bond that unites individuals, unites generations, unites hearts. Just taking away a vest from a person, it will never make a culture go away, because it's not in the vest, it's in the heart. And it's a curious thing if you think that actually the vests themselves, they hands down on the heart. So usually people could have also patches telling the rules. Not everybody has it. Some clubs allow these patches to be there. Other times you're not required, or it's more like the location, and if it's an international club, where you are from as a country. So I do believe that whatever patch touch our heart zone, it's gonna somehow developing in a psychometric way a relationship more deeper with our heart. And so far from just be also a mere mark of brotherhood, the vast, we can say, aligns the people with a code of behavior, a psychological code of thought. And it grounds us, it gives us structure. It is something that visible, reminds us continually, mind what you're wearing, mind how you are supposed to behave when you're wearing. To talk, to roll, to stand, what stands for, what stand not for. And that's why, for example, if it happens that I'm hugging somebody and for mistake I'm touching patches, I always says, I'm sorry, it wasn't intentional, I should have checked it before. And in some places in the world it is a thing, no touching of this, for the reasons that we said previously. And other places it can be a thing, as long as you are respectful and of course you don't make questions about them. And if we look at it from an occult perspective, well, pretty much this parallelism go from one to another, and the vast for the occultist, it's what aligns it still with a code of behaviors, of psychological upbringing, but also with metaphysical forces. It is a shift from we are just a person interested into occult, interested into magic, into old books, grimoires, and hot pop culture comics too, that could teach us more about it. For example, if you are a new magician, I will suggest you the 3 deluxe edition of Promethea from Alan Moore. Extremely good, where he's teaching down very easily ceremonial magic and his upbringing. And more, it was very interesting to read. And so it gives also the understanding that our successes are worth in celebration, because rather than being something that we gain by feeling entitled to gain it, we are actually working our sweat, our bones, our hand. We roll it up the sleeves, and we really went for it. We really went to elevate us as a person, and we see this with the 6 of Wands, as a person, so to something bigger. Nobody forced us. Nobody forced you. Nobody forced me. You know what the secret is? The secret is we just heard the call and we picked it up when it was the moment to actually go. And pretty much in this day, my own vest has gone through a lot. And at some point it can happen that your vest might have leather problems like this, or be ruined. This vest has seen at least 9 years of adventures, of empowering encounters. It has seen even this week, but still you know, I never felt that I need actually to cover it with somebody, because energetically, whenever I will be wearing it, my mind will just click in a different way and will just make sense and bring order from the chaos that normally it will be out there. And this is not low self-esteem. Low self-esteem, it's another conversation. This is, if you are somebody into the occult culture and MC culture, you pretty much know that you can actually enchant, let's say, even if it sounds a little bit of a Skyrim way to say, enchanting your vest, enchanting jewels. Like, it can be rings, it can be gloves, it can be shoes, it can be boots. And pretty much is what I have done with my own vest. So that's why it's also so ruined. It went a little bit, you know, too much smoke on it, or the things. But they are tales. They are tales to be told. They are tales for the eyes. Like our tattoos. Now mine are all covered up. It's very cold outside and we're having snow. So all this makes a vest be more than just something that you could choose to wear or not. And I hope that this video interested you. If you need a tarot reading, you want a consultation, you want to know a little bit more about VAST and other things on the channel, as unfortunately not everything can make it on a YouTube channel. No, in the description of this video you're gonna find a link to my website, and it's very built in an easy way that you don't have to make too many clicks. I always goes lost in that. Let me hear in the comments here in the video and in the community section your thought about wearing a vest, or wearing a robe. What was your experience with it, and your thought on the spirit takes, and what do you think actually you asking to your spirit it could come. That could be interesting. Let's do this. Channel your spirits and write down here in these comment sections what they said about wearing vests or wearing robes or wearing something that recreate this concepts of identity, initiation and power, armor, and mark of brotherhood, of sisterhood. I'm really gonna be interested, and I have another surprise tomorrow. We're gonna go live. You wanna know more about this? Community session. There is gonna be the timetables when we're gonna find each other, and let's see if we can take it just for 1 hour, or like it happened last time, you wanna go more. I hope you guys, you're doing well. Have a good Christmas. If we're not gonna hear, if you're gonna leave the channel before, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you next time.